Look like ESPN just told the shocking truth as to why Sandy Brondello was let go by the New York Liberty. Guys, for this one here.
All right, this is crazy. ESPN has revealed the shocking reason for Sandy Brondello's termination. And really, fans are going crazy at the moment. We are discussing the abrupt dismissal of the Liberty's most successful coach in history, who had just won a championship. And we now understand the true causes. And they're messy, I assure you. They're crazy. And this story has the potential to alter our entire understanding of the WNBA's future.
New York Liberty have let go Sandy Brondello. Well, in their terms, they will not renew her contract. In our eyes, they parted ways. She was fired, essentially. But not as bad as being fired, I guess. But that's just how we talk out here. Nonetheless, I'm shocked. She's been a coach there for 4 seasons. You look at the past 3 seasons, she made it to the finals in her 2nd season. She won the finals in her 3rd season, and they lost in round 1 this year. Outside looking in, you look at this franchise and you see that's a successful franchise. New York is a powerhouse in the W right now. So what is the issue? What is the...
Thus, the headline is dropped, and ESPN, yes, this crazy news is being broken by ESPN. Only a year after winning a championship, Sandy Brondello, the most successful coach in Liberty history, leaves. Myself and other fans are literally wiping our eyes and asking, wait, is this a typo? However, this isn't a bizarre dream. With power struggles and pure ego taking over, the WNBA is demonstrating to us exactly how brutal front offices can become. We must dissect precisely what ESPN disclosed in this case. Because this isn't just about basketball anymore, let me tell you. This involves great pressure, complex politics, and, to be honest, a team that is attempting to appear far larger than the league as a whole. Take this. ESPN claims that this dismissal wasn't a hasty, sentimental choice following a somewhat poor postseason run. Oh no, this had been simmering for some time. Yes, exactly. Had she not won the title, Sandy Brondello might have been eliminated the previous year. I mean, it's literally championship or bust.
Title, what exactly led to the parting of ways between the Liberty and Sandy Brondello here?
Well, Malika, I know you guys talk about this a lot in the NBA and in other sports, but it was really championship or bust for New York and for Sandy Brondello. And in fact, if they hadn't won the championship last year, we might have been having this conversation a year ago, which is maybe a little startling to fans outside, given how, excuse me for those noises, for how impactful she'd been for that franchise. But that is how bullish this organization is in New York, and how their ownership and management really are looking to just continue upon that success.
Now, I'm not sure about you, but how in the world does it make any sense at all? You bring in a coach, and she rebuilds your entire team, takes you to places you've never been before, wins more games than any other Liberty coach in history, wins you a championship, and gives you a pink slip as a thank you gift. What? That would be equivalent to ordering the most delicious steak, devouring every morsel, and then returning it to the kitchen because the plate wasn't sufficiently heated. It's completely absurd. And you know what? ESPN essentially acknowledged that it is completely nonsensical.
And so I think for New York moving forward, I would expect them to really, again, be bullish in who they go after. We know that they are a WNBA franchise that invests a lot in a lot of resources, a lot of financial, capital into these decisions. So I think it wouldn't be shocking, though, if they decide to go after maybe someone in the NBA, someone that we might be a little bit more of a non-traditional hire. I do think Sandy Brondello has a great shot of getting hired again. We know what she has done in this league. We know that there's openings in Seattle, for example, in addition to the 2.
Accordingly, the Liberty front office has been characterized as bullish. What does that signify, then? In other words, there are Wall Street business people who essentially believe that sports operate similarly to their stock portfolios. You simply sell the item and go buy a new one if the figures aren't flawless. The long game is not something they want to play here. They desire complete dominance at all times. They will just look for someone they believe can deliver that on demand if you are unable to do so. The story takes an even more bizarre turn at this point, though. Brondello was more than just a victor. She was managing some significant problems that were entirely beyond her control while she was doing it. We're talking about guys not being completely healthy, serious injuries sustained during the playoffs, and a squad that, to be honest, wasn't assembled with the best depth. Nevertheless, she was able to coach them all the way to the championship game and win it all. However, the front office somehow turned that whole amazing achievement into a negative wild, don't they?
For ESPN to give us an update as to why Sandy Brondello will let go. And what's crazy about all of this in this interview that I'm about to show you guys is that Sandy Brondello was supposed to be fired last year, but she actually won the WNBA championship.
And here's the thing. Alexa, an insider for ESPN, claims that management essentially made their decisions before the playoffs ever began. Title or else was the rule. That meant Sandy Brondello would be eliminated if New York didn't win consecutive titles. Take a moment to process that.
Liberty just fired their head coach. People are confused as to why, because they won the championship last year. They made the playoffs this year. In sports, there's always a scapegoat when things aren't going the way that they wanted it to go. Clearly, in New York, the standard has been raised. As Coach Tibbs learned with the New York Knicks, making the playoffs does not guarantee that you are safe anymore. They have raised the standard. They're sending a message to the fans, to the team, saying, we don't want to just go to the playoffs. We need to go to the finals and we need to win. So if it's not the players on the court that are changing, it's got to be the coaching staff. So unfortunately, that did mean...
As a result, even though she actually gave them their first championship in franchise history, she was being evaluated based on her ability to do it again right away. The standard was set so ridiculously high that the only reasonable conclusion was, well, failure. Honestly, when you consider it, it's almost humorous. Different franchises. With her resume, they're almost pleading for a coach. 40 playoff victories, numerous championships with various organizations, and a reputation for inspiring players to fully commit without ever taking control. However, New York simply shrugs after reviewing that outstanding resume. Thank you, but we're trying to find someone else. It would be equivalent to dismissing a chef immediately after they received their first Michelin star for the simple reason that the garnish on dish number 6 wasn't particularly eye-catching. Additionally, the timing was awful. ESPN made it very evident that this was not a lengthy, elegant farewell or elegant send-off. No, it was swiftly announced by the Liberty. I gave a lifeless, terse thank you for your service statement, and then started talking about finding a replacement right away. Just as frigid as ice, with no procession or celebration. We hope she has a successful next chapter. Here's the worst part, though. Let's discuss why this goes well beyond the dismissal of a single coach. This reveals the WNBA's strange, bordering on desperate, fixation on grabbing NBA-style media attention despite lacking nearly the same infrastructure. The Liberty are behaving as though they are the Lakers firing a coach for not hitting 3 consecutive games. Folks, here's the news. You're not. You're in a league that is still battling it out for viewers' attention and trying to persuade casual fans that incredible talents like Caitlin Clark are worth seeing. Instead of this self-inflicted chaos, you need steadiness.